WELSTech is a bi-weekly podcast exploring the intersections of technology and ministry. It is part of the podcast network sponsored by WELS, the Wisconsin Evangelical Lutheran Synod. Our show today is hosted by Martin Spriggs and Sallie Draper. Welcome back to WELSTech. This is episode 676, and we are recording it on March 10th, Thursday, 2022. A little bit different show today. In fact, Sallie is a little bit under the weather. Nothing serious, just spring allergies. So it is just me, myself, and I, and that's Martin Spriggs, and this is a show about technology and ministry. But good news for you, we were joined earlier by Beth Taticek, the LWMS, the Lutheran Women's Missionary Society Central Office Administrator. Beth has been connected with WELSTech for quite some time and went through some training, some website training, and we were really excited to have her join the show. She is headed off into retirement in the not too distant future, but in her Lutheran Women's Missionary Society responsibilities has been a heavy user of technology, especially in the last couple years. And we wanted to sit down and talk with her about what that looks like for the LWMS Central Office and how that has benefited the ladies of the society. So let's take a listen to our interview with Beth Taticek.
Joining us today on WELSTech, special guest from Lutheran Women's Missionary Society. Welcome, Beth Taticek.
Hi, how are you?
Awesome. So nice to have you joining us, and a friend of WELSTech for many years. I think you've even been to some of our conferences and
I have
trainings and all kinds of things. So, and that just kind of alludes to the fact that you've been working with LWMS for quite a while and seen some interesting changes, especially in terms of technology, which is why we wanted to talk to you today. So before we dive in deep to that, though, maybe you can just spend a moment and introduce yourselves to our listeners and watchers.
Okay. I'm Beth Taticek. I've worked at the LWMS Central Office for over 26 years. I go to Good Shepherds in West Dallas. I'm married. I have 2 grown children, 2 grandchildren, and in my spare time, I like to read. And during the pandemic, COVID times, I kind of got involved with doing jigsaw puzzles. So that's a new hobby for me. So
Nice.
I'm getting a little obsessive about it, though. So might have to put the puzzles down.
I've seen them on Facebook, and I can attest to the fact that they're way over my head. You do some really hard stuff.
Yeah.
Fun. All right. Well, I alluded to it already, but maybe if we just talk a little bit about Lutheran Women's Missionary Society, kind of as a good starting point, tell us about what your role is with the organization currently.
Sure. So currently, I am the LWMS Central Office Administrator. I've been there forever, and LWMS as an organization has been around since before the 1960s. People were kind of meeting informally, but in 1964, we became an organization under the WELS umbrella. So since then, we've been operating as we are currently operating with a board of directors, and then at some point in time, they added the office in when things got too much for volunteers. So most of our organization is volunteers, but we do have 3 paid employees. There's me and two other coworkers. My role as the administrator is I kind of take care of the day-to-day business of the organization, and we maintain our databases, maintain our website, do all of the communication with our members. The organization is based on congregational members. So WELS congregations pay membership dues to offset our working fund expenses.
So many of our listeners probably know what LWMS is, but for those who don't, can you give us kind of the elevator pitch? What is LWMS?
Sure. LWMS is Lutheran Women's Missionary Society, and we are our goal, our mission statement is to increase awareness of interest in and support WELS missions. So we work very closely with the WELS Missions Office.
Good stuff. And there's always exciting things happening in WELS missions and just lots of growth and activity there all the time. So again, kind of zeroing in on the technology side of things, if you've been there 26 years, maybe that predates a little bit of the technology we're using today, since a lot has happened in the last 26 years. Yeah, from your perspective, what kind of things have transformed about the way LWMS does business?
Well, and I was kind of looking back and I'm like, did we have the internet then? I don't even recall.
Probably
I think
not.
we
Maybe
did,
mimeographs.
but it was kind of, I think we had email for sure. But back when I first started, our database was a DOS database. And so we had to transfer that into, we went into Microsoft Access like over 25 years ago. And just the whole way we communicate with people has changed so much. We used to do just, mailings. We'd do 6 mailings a year. And now it's like, we do monthly notes and we do this and we do that. And technology has just been crazy, and just keeping up and learning and trying to evolve with it has been exciting. I know that I've taken classes from both of you for different things as part of trying to get on top of the new technology. And that's been so helpful. I think we launched our first website back in 2000. And prior to that, I had taken a HTML class and I thought, oh, I'll just do that. And then I took the class and I'm like, oh, there's no way, I don't want to do that. So we kind of outsourced our first couple websites, and then WELS started doing our website for us back, I don't know, probably 15 years ago. And then when Final Web came, we jumped on the Final Web bandwagon. I took courses with you on that, and we've been doing Final Web websites since that point in time. So we're currently on our 3rd Final Web website. We've redesigned it several times over the years.
And you just redesigned it again.
We did.
Walk us through some of the highlights of the new site. What are you excited about?
Well, I'm really excited. Sallie was kind of instrumental in jumping us into this new website because she is our social media volunteer. I don't know if anyone knows that, but she is a volunteer for our organization. And she was playing around on our website one day and got a Final Web 2.0 site as an experiment. And we loved it. So we just started working on that. One of the things that's great about it is that it's integrated with our monthly notes that we send out. When people get monthly emails from us, they can click in that and look at the articles from that. Everything that we do on our emails is connected with the website. So that's a really nice change. We spent a lot of time, I spent a lot of time working on our membership pages, on the membership by circuit. We've got we have 60 LWMS circuits around the country, and each of the circuits has their own kind of web page in there that's got a little history of the circuit and where all the congregations are, and a map. And we've got the convention history site has lists of all of the conventions that we've had. And then we have a historian who's been working on getting some information scanned and kind of put into an archive online. And we've been adding that information as we get it available. So we've got more to do on the website, but it's fun. And there's just a ton of information about our different, just things we've done in the past and things we're planning to do in the future, and just a
How
lot.
to get involved, different connection points, certainly.
Right.
Yeah. One thing I like about Final Web 2.0 is it's a lot more mobile friendly, and a lot more people are visiting sites, on their mobile phones. So this is a welcome change to that, I'm sure.
Yes.
Definitely. You mentioned the Facebook side of things and e-news. So there's a lot of different technologies involved. It's nice that the website's kind of a hub for all of that communication that's going out. As I understand it, the board has also done some new technology lately where you're using Microsoft Teams more for board communication.
We are, yes. We did Grace in Action last year.
Mm-hmm.
So since we went through that training program, we've been doing monthly meetings rather than the 5-6 times a year they would meet before. We've been doing monthly meetings online. And the Microsoft Teams has been great as far as trying to organize all of the files and the information and everything that we've had to do, because there's a lot more information when you're meeting monthly. There's a lot more stuff being done than when you're just meeting a couple times a year.
Sure.
So it's great to have that to organize people.
Yeah. I just the tiny bit of access that I have, and I'm not on the international board, just kind of up the ante for me, for this group and many others I'm sure that are out there that are bringing together people from all across the country, even from across the world, and doing the level of work, because this is a hardworking team of volunteers that make up the board of directors. And on top of that, you guys pull off an annual convention, which, I was thinking back, I don't think many WELS organizations meet on a yearly basis the way LWMS does. So a really large undertaking all across the country. So you're making these plans, you're handling all the registration and all the questions around that. It's a big undertaking. Tell us a little bit about the 59th annual LWMS convention that's coming up.
Very excited about this one because we'll be meeting in person.
Yay.
Hopefully in Rochester, New York. Our convention is always the last full weekend in June every year. And we normally have, depending on where we are, the ones in the Midwest are larger than the ones in the, farther out in the country. But we normally have between 700 to 1,800 people attend the convention.
Wow.
Don't exactly know how many to expect in Rochester because we haven't met for 2 years, but we've got a lovely slate of mission speakers planned, workshops. It is also our annual business meeting is held during that time. So we have to plan for that too. We are able to do online registration through our Final Web 2.0 website. We've actually done online registration for the last, I think, 3 years. And that's been a real blessing for people who want to just, get it done, taken care of, and not worry about it. I was just looking at the counter clock that just went away. It was like 112 days.
Yeah, it's exciting. And you mentioned you did 2 virtual events. How was that in comparison? How hard did you have to pivot to change to virtual?
Well, we're, even though this is a tech interview, we are not the techiest people in the world.
I don't think anybody was in 2020, not like we are now.
It was one of the things that was just kind of a godsend. I mean, just working for a Christian organization for years, you just see where God has a hand in things. And about the year before the pandemic, our board of directors decided we should upgrade our computer system and go to have VPN access so we could work from home. And at that time, we had never worked from home. We had always gone to the office. Like, oh, okay, if we think we should do that, that's fine. Well, it turns out it was really a blessing because as soon as everything closed down, we were able to pivot and work from home easily. We all, there's the 3 of us, 2 of us stayed home. There was one person that manned the office for the entire time. And she was there alone. So she felt very comfortable and secure, and she kept the things working, answered the phone, got the mail, and the other 2 of us were home for a year and a half,
And that's something.
So when it was time to pivot for the convention, that was hard because we really didn't have a clue. But the first year we partnered with WELS and worked with the missions office. And missions has a annual mission day that's called Taste of Missions. And our convention for 2020 that we were having to cancel was the theme for that convention was 2020 Vision for Missions. So the two of us, the group of people, got together with missions office and our organization and decided to come up with a 2-week-long online event named at Taste and See. And we used our mission program. We had all the missionaries videotape themselves, and WELS kind of bankrolled that whole 2-week event with and they were able to do live interviews with missionaries, and it turned out to be a really cool event. And it was sad that we weren't able to meet in person, but being able to do that was wonderful.
Yeah, I remember. I think it was really uplifting for people to have something like that. It was very new and impressive that we could.
It was at a time when we really didn't have a lot of other
Mm-hmm.
things going on, so people were able to spend some time on their computer and watch things. And they had recipes and just a bunch of stuff that was very cool. And then last year we did our own convention on our own. And we just basically ran it like we would have run a convention in person, having different speakers each day, release each day. And that turned out pretty well too. And we were able to do our business meeting online both years. So we were able to keep the organization business focused and operating for the 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so it worked out really well, but I'm very much looking forward to being in person.
Definitely.
One of the things we're planning for this convention, though, is because we do recognize that not everyone is feeling comfortable to travel and not everyone can come to New York. We're planning to take something away from our online convention that we did and do a couple Zoom interviews with missionaries during the convention. So people at the convention in Rochester and then people from home with the link to the Zoom will be able to chat with a missionary who is not in the building. Fingers crossed that all works. This is something new. We haven't tried that either. So we'll see, but it should be good.
Mm-hmm.
That's exciting. Those conventions, there's a lot of energy and a lot of excitement, in those. And I'm sure now that after a 2-year hiatus of in-person, I think the energy will be even higher than ever. So another thing that is maybe exciting for you in particular is you're looking forward to some retirement potential here, but that means there's gaps to fill. Maybe tell us a little bit about how people, if they want to get involved, whether that be leadership or in any other way, can what you call be the future of LWMS. Tell us a little bit about that, Beth.
Right. Well, I announced in February that I'm going to be retiring at the end of the year. The LWMS Board of Directors, rather than hiring an administrator to just do the central office administration, decided that it's time to pivot, and we're kind of looking towards the future. And we're going to hire a director that has a little bit different job duties than I would have. If anyone is interested in that, Sallie's showing the page, but it is www.lwms.org/be-the-future. A lot of fun stuff going on. One of the things I've been doing is just kind of giving reasons why I've enjoyed working for LWMS for the last 26 years. So I'm working on some blog postings that are just highlighting different parts of the job that
awesome.
Have been just fun. I don't know, we may be looking at hiring more than one person depending on what qualifications we have and what the job duties ends up being. That may be something that the new director can look into, how to better meet the needs of the future. So it's kind of an exciting time because I've been here a long time, but it's time to move in another direction. And I'm looking forward to being retired, and I'm looking forward to being a volunteer at LWMS in the future. And it'll be fun.
And seeing what the next 25 years of technology holds for us, huh?
It's mind-boggling.
For sure. Well, we certainly appreciate you taking time out to talk with us, Beth. We wish you the Lord's blessings in those retirement plans and look forward to following LWMS and seeing how the future unfolds.
Excellent. It was good talking to you.
Have fun in New York.
Thanks.
It is really awesome that Beth was able to incorporate I wouldn't say cutting edge technology, but certainly the appropriate technology to get the communications out to the appropriate people at the appropriate times. So happy that she was able to share her experiences with us, and that she served these many faithful years and blessings as you ride off into the sunset, so to speak, Beth. But really appreciate your work and the continued work of the Lutheran Women's Missionary Society. I will have all those links in the show notes. Remember, that is LWMS.org if you'd like to learn more. Start a chapter, join a chapter, get more information about what those great ladies do. So thank you, Beth. Let's move on to the next segment of our show, and it'll be an abbreviated show this week since I'm here all by my lonesome. We'll go right into the picks of the week. The picks of the week is a segment of the show where we take something, whether it's hardware, software, a website, something that might be of interest to you, but that we found incredibly useful. And my pick of the week is actually a repeat. I think I picked this 2018, I want to say. And it's still basically the same product today. They've tweaked it, made it a little bit better. And that's the Audio-Technica ATR 2100 microphone. A couple things I really like about it. One, high quality. Two, great price. In fact, there are three things. Three, great sound. And this would be the microphone. I'm not using it here today because I'm in my home office, but in the office at the Center for Mission and Ministry, this is one I always use because it does one thing that some other microphones like it don't do as well, and that's block out background sound. So if you've got HVAC, if you've got ambient noise, maybe even a reverb, you don't have total control of the environment that you're in, this is a great USB microphone to use. In fact, this microphone can do double duty. It has both USB and XLR connections, and that makes it super flexible in the applications and how you'd like to use it. You do have to get pretty close up to the microphone to pick up a good sampling of your voice. But beyond that, I think it's very portable. It's only 6 to 7 inches long and very durable. I think it checks all the boxes, especially if you're doing some kind of voiceover or podcasting, or you want to capture something while you're in a stationary position at your desk. It's not as good maybe for congregational use or even in a classroom, but if you're doing any kind of recording, this would be a great option, especially for the price to value and what you get out of this. There are much more expensive microphones on the market, but I would say for most ministry uses, this would fit the bill. I believe this package that I've identified here on Amazon comes with a stand. It comes with a holder. The stand is very short, so I wouldn't say it's overly useful. You're probably going to want to have some kind of longer arm that you'll put it on so you can get it closer to your mouth. As I mentioned, you really got to be 2-3 inches away from it for it to pick up nicely. And that augments one of its, again, nicer features, and that's, blocking out, the surrounding sound and just capturing your voice. Works with Mac, works with PC, since it is USB, just a good all-around microphone. Depending on your situation, you may want to buy a pop filter, a filter that goes over the front so that you don't get that popping sound. But in general, I've not even needed one in most situations for this microphone, but your mileage may vary, so just be aware of that. But again, that's the Audio-Technica ATR 2100. Great little microphone. Let's move on to the next segment of our show, which is something we call community news and feedback. This is a kind of a topic that we've combined over the years, and we just throw in things of note here as well as feedback. And we've got some good feedback from our listeners for the show today. And the first piece of feedback came from Kyler Berg. Kyler Berg is at Kingdom Prep here in the Milwaukee area, and he has some questions about forms. And Kyler asks, I was forwarded here by to WELSTech by Almont, a friend of the ministry of us at KP. We're looking to change how we collect information to get it into our SIS, our student information system. The result needs to be a CSV file to upload into the SIS. Less important is the data will be manipulable to make into CSV easy enough. The main two platforms the office has explored to use are DocuSign and Google Forms. The following are the thoughts the office ladies put together about the two. Pros for DocuSign: can accept pre-made PDFs, minimal setup, signatures, can collect payments, should collect data in CSV format. Cons: parents will have to search for the individual invitation in their email. Users have to set up an account, description, a subscription price, etc. Google Forms, of course, pros: free, one shareable link, can be formatted. Cons: no signature option, more effort to set up, would have to collect title and counseling forms at a registration night, no fee payment option. My initial thoughts was that DocuSign would be both more professional and secure. Not sure how secure we could get on Google Forms in the attached a PDF of the typical forms that they use. Kyler, I think, and I responded to by email to Kyler as well, but just to share it with everybody here, if you do have legal documents and e-signatures are required and important, then DocuSign kind of is the industry leader. There are others. Adobe has a product. I think even some of the tried and true traditional forms makers have some kind of plugin like JotForms, those kinds of things. We use DocuSign here in the Synod office for all of our employees to sign information security policies and employee security policies, those kinds of things. I find it very easy to use, very flexible. I did not know that it can export CSV. That's good news. We haven't actually needed that, but it looks like Kyler had figured that out from the website. There's probably a trial version you can use as well to try that. But if you need e-signatures, true e-signatures, DocuSign is probably the industry leader. It's not super cheap, but as I mentioned to Kyler, that's kind of the cost of doing business. You do want to be legal, and if you're into e-signatures, that may be something you'd have to explore. We did quite a bit of looking when we picked it, and it for the price, for the lower volumes that we use, seemed to be a better solution than some of the others. There are other solution providers out there, but they have various pluses and minuses, of course, as well. So DocuSign was the recommended approach. I would suggest in this kind of solution, but it may, your mileage may vary as well here too. So thank you, Kyler, for asking the question. Really appreciate that. The next bit of feedback, or news, I should say, is there is a in-person Taste of Ministry festival event, whatever you'd like to call it, coming up this summer from our good folks in missions. And Taste of Missions used to be, and it was, I don't know what number year this is, but it's been going on for pre-COVID, certainly, and then COVID turned it virtual. And now what they're doing with Taste of Missions, which is June 11th, 2022, is what they're calling a a hybrid event. So it's held Saturday, June 11th, 2022. Registration is now open. It's at Wisconsin Lutheran Seminary. So if you're in the area or live in the area, Mequon, Wisconsin, please take advantage of that. Or online, of course. The registration form, there's a link to it. We'll put that link in the show notes, but the registration is $15 per person, with children 13 and under attending for free. Those attending in person will receive food tickets to sample ethnic food and will have the ability to purchase additional food from the food trucks or attend virtually for free. tasteofmissions.com. I did not, or was not able to attend the one last year, but I did attend one, I believe 2 years ago, maybe it was now 3 years ago, at Wisconsin Lutheran Seminary. What a neat experience. They do commissioning of home and world missionaries there. There's presentations. You get a nice sampling of what we're doing in those fields. Great food. A lot of people there enjoying the facilities and the fellowship and family-friendly activities. They're doing indoor, outdoor stuff this year. They're planning on doing that. So Taste of Missions, June 11th, 2022. And finally, Michael Vieger from Risen Savior Lutheran Elementary School in Mankato, Minnesota. Sallie's buddies over there, teacher and tech director there, wanted to call our attention to a Google plugin called Close It. And Close It is a plugin that allows you to create a kind of fill in the blank experience for Google Docs. And the way it works is that you highlight the words that you'd like to blank out, essentially, or have your students fill in. And you load the extension, you click the button, and it goes through, and anything that you have highlighted gets removed and replaced with an underline. And underneath the document at the bottom is inserted a word bank of all those words randomized so that the student can take the appropriate word and put it in the appropriate blank. You can either do it via highlight or underline. It'll pick up both of those. You tell it which one you want. And then you can also, there's a second option that allows you to provide hints. So the hint part is basically the first letter of the word that you've removed or you've blanked out to give them an idea of what that word starts with. So looks pretty slick. I didn't realize those things had a name called closes. It's with a Z. So I learned something there. This might be something that you'd want to take a look at if you are in need of some kind of fill in the blank or fill in the blanks worksheet, also known as close exercises. So thank you, Michael, for sharing that. And we really appreciate you thinking of us and sharing that information with us, that we can pass that along. That is going to about do it for my little monologue this week. Thankfully, we had an interview in the can, and hopefully the next time we gather together, Sallie will be in full health. That next time, speaking of, we'll be with Jason and Rachel as well, Jason Schmidt and Rachel Feld. And Rachel is going to be sharing with us some of the details on her using technology to spark creativity and higher order thinking skills. She's going to give us a little bit of a deep dive on that. So we're looking forward to having her back on, as we always do, to share that little piece of information with us. So I want to thank all of you for joining us. The community feedback channel is always open to you. So if you'd like to share your thoughts, give us suggestions for content, suggestions for interviews, all kinds of feedback is welcome. So just go to our show notes page, welstech.wels.net, or send us an email, welstech@wels.net, and we'd be happy to take a look at that and share as appropriate. Again, thanks everybody for joining. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.